The cameras were flashing, the carpet was glowing, and the Bet Awards were supposed to be about trophies, until one moment turned the entire night into a headline earthquake. Because when Teyana Taylor stepped out with her daughters and her rumored new man in full view of the world, celebrity culture didn't just react, it malfunctioned. This wasn't a soft launch. This wasn't subtle. This was a message delivered in front of millions, and it landed like a thunderclap. For months, fans argued over whispers, screenshots, blind items, allegedly. But at the Bet Awards, the guessing ended. Hand placement, eye contact, body language that screamed comfort, not coincidence. Her daughters smiling, her posture relaxed. And standing right there, no longer hidden, no longer just a friend, was Pierre, looking every bit like he belonged in that family frame. The internet exploded in real time. Twitter went feral. TikTok froze frames. Instagram comment sections collapsed under the weight of disbelief. Because this wasn't just about a new relationship, this was about timing. This was about what it means to move on publicly after breaking away from Iman Shumpert, and doing it with children involved, cameras watching, and zero explanations offered. Some fans called it healing. Others called it disrespect. Critics demanded answers. Supporters called it freedom. And insiders, they started leaking. Whispers of private conversations. Of a decision made long before the red carpet. Of a moment carefully chosen to say everything without saying a word. Because according to people close to the situation, the Bet Awards appearance wasn't spontaneous. It was intentional. And if that's true, then what happened before this night, and what's coming after, is far more explosive than anyone is ready for. The moment Bet Awards cameras cut to the carpet, insiders say the entire backstage energy shifted. This wasn't just another celebrity walkthrough. This was choreography. Timing. Intention. Teyana Taylor didn't arrive rushed or flustered. She arrived calm, grounded, centered, and most importantly, not alone. Her daughters were on either side of her, beaming, confident, clearly rehearsed in how to stand, how to smile, how to move as a unit. And then there was him. Standing just close enough to signal permanence, just far enough to avoid PDA accusations, was Pierre. No grand gestures. No forced poses. Just quiet presence. And according to multiple insiders, that's what made the moment so loud. Because this wasn't a rumor anymore. This was a public reframe of Teyana's life, motherhood, love, and control of narrative, all in one calculated sweep. Within seconds, social media lost its mind. Fans clipped videos before the red carpet coverage even finished airing. TikTok slowed down footage to analyze hand placement. Twitter argued over whether Aaron reached for Junie's hand first or waited for her to lean in. Instagram comments exploded with everything from "this feels right" to "this is too soon." The divide was instant and vicious. But behind the scenes, people were already whispering, this had been planned for weeks. A stylist allegedly told a fashion insider that the family look wasn't last minute. The color palette. The silhouettes. The way Teyana's daughters matched her energy without being matchy. That doesn't happen by accident, the source said. That's a story being told visually. And the story didn't start at the Bet Awards. According to multiple unverified, but disturbingly consistent leaks, Teyana had already decided that this would be the first full public appearance with Aaron, daughters included, because it symbolized safety. Stability. A clear break from the chaos of speculation. One source claimed she wanted to show that her children weren't confused, displaced, or reacting, they were comfortable. Happy. Grounded. That decision, insiders say, is what turned this from romance news into cultural commentary. Because involving children in a public debut changes everything. And that's where Iman Shumput re-entered the conversation, whether anyone wanted him to or not. Within minutes of the carpet footage going viral, Iman's name trended. Fans began pulling old interviews where he spoke about family values. Others resurfaced clips of him and Teyana at past award shows, comparing body language frame by frame. The internet, ruthless as always, started asking questions no one had answers to. Did he know this was happening? Did he approve? Was this a statement, or a provocation? Insiders are split. One alleged source close to Iman claims he was aware she would attend the awards with the kids, but not that Aaron would be positioned so prominently. Another source directly contradicted that, saying Iman had been informed weeks earlier and chose not to interfere. Both stories circulated simultaneously. Neither was confirmed. Both fueled the fire. Then came the first leak. A DM screenshot, quickly deleted but widely reposted, claimed a producer at the event overheard a tense exchange backstage between two people connected to Iman's camp. The message alleged the word boundaries was used. No names. No context. Just enough to send speculation into overdrive. Teyana, meanwhile, posted nothing that night. No captions. No explanations. Just silence. And silence, in celebrity culture, is never empty. By the next morning, she broke it, not with words, but with images. A carousel of candid photos from the night. Her daughters laughing. A blurred shot of Aaron smiling mid-conversation. A moment that looked unguarded. And staged. And the caption. Minimal. Almost dismissive. As if to say, this is normal now. That post shattered whatever restraint the internet had left. Supporters flooded the comments praising her for choosing joy. Critics accused her of rewriting history. Some demanded timelines. Others begged her to ignore the noise. Even celebrities chimed in subtly, heart emojis, cryptic comments about new seasons, quiet likes that felt like endorsements. And then the rumor mill turned darker. A blind item dropped claiming the Bet Awards appearance wasn't just about love. It was about reclaiming power after months of feeling misrepresented. According to that post, Teyana felt her divorce narrative had been flattened into gossip, and this was her way of asserting control without speaking. If I don't tell my story, the source claimed she said, they'll keep telling it wrong. Whether that quote is real or not, the impact was. Because suddenly, people weren't just watching a relationship unfold. They were watching a woman redraw the boundaries of how celebrity breakups are supposed to look. No tearful interviews. No explanations. No apologies for moving forward. But that confidence came with consequences. According to a final whisper spreading through entertainment circles late that night, Iman wasn't upset about Aaron. He was upset about the timing. And if that's true, then the moment everyone thought was a debut, may have also been the beginning of a much louder reaction waiting just out of sight. By the time the morning shows started dissecting the Bet Awards footage, the narrative had already mutated into something far bigger than a red carpet moment. This was no longer about fashion, or even romance. It was about boundaries being crossed in public, and whether those boundaries had been quietly negotiated long before the cameras ever rolled. According to multiple insiders, the tension everyone felt online was already simmering backstage, just hidden behind smiles and security ropes. Sources close to Teyana Taylor claim the decision to bring her daughters into the spotlight alongside Aaron Pierre was not impulsive. It was deliberate, protective, and deeply personal. One alleged insider said she wanted to normalize the new dynamic before outsiders could twist it. She didn't want her kids introduced to speculation, the source claimed. She wanted them introduced to reality. But reality hit different for everyone else. Within hours, group chats tied to Iman Shumpert allegedly lit up. Not with anger, with confusion. According to one unverified, but widely circulated leak, someone close to Iman asked, "So this is how it's going to look now?" That single line, reposted across blogs, became the emotional anchor of the backlash. Because it suggested something viewers feared, that even if the relationship was over, the rules for how it ended were never fully agreed on. The speculation escalated when a second blind item dropped, claiming Iman had requested one thing post-divorce: that major public moments involving the children be communicated ahead of time. The same blind alleged that while he knew Aaron was in the picture, he didn't expect the Bet Awards to become the soft launch of a new family dynamic. Again, no confirmation. But the timing made the rumor stick. Fans split again. Some argued Teyana owed no explanations to an ex. Others insisted co-parenting means communication, not surprise optics. TikTok debates turned heated, with creators arguing over whether this was empowerment or provocation. One viral video racked up millions of views asking, "Is healing allowed to be public if it hurts someone else?" Then came the alleged audio. A gossip account claimed to have heard a short voice note circulating privately, not leaked, but described by multiple people the same way. According to them, it featured a frustrated male voice saying, "I didn't think she'd do it like this." No name mentioned. No date confirmed. But the implication was obvious enough to reignite everything. Meanwhile, Pierre's presence became the silent accelerant. Every detail about him was scrutinized. How he interacted with the girls. Whether he stood behind or beside Teyana. Whether his posture was protective or performative. Fans praised his calm demeanor, calling it grown man energy. Critics accused him of stepping into a role too fast. And still, he said nothing, no posts, no interviews, no defenses. That silence worked in his favor. According to one entertainment publicist, Aaron's refusal to engage starved the outrage. Without a villain actively playing defense, the internet turned inward, arguing with itself. And in that chaos, Teyana's narrative quietly strengthened. She wasn't clapping back. She wasn't correcting timelines. She was just living. But not everyone was convinced. Another insider claimed the Bet Awards moment was only the first step in a larger rollout, not for publicity, but for normalization. According to that source, upcoming appearances were already discussed, including events where the family dynamic would be visible again. She doesn't want to sneak, the source alleged. She wants to stand in it. That possibility sent shockwaves through fan spaces. Because if the Bet Awards were the opening chapter, the next public sighting could force Iman to respond, not emotionally, but narratively. And that's where the stakes changed. This stopped being about who moved on faster, and became about who controls the story of the past. Late that evening, a final rumor spread quietly but ominously. An anonymous account claimed Iman had been advised to say nothing until she says everything. The logic? Any premature response would be framed as bitterness. But if he waited, if he allowed the full picture to emerge, the public might see the ending differently. Whether that advice is real or not, the strategy makes sense. Because the longer Teyana moves forward without explanation, the more people begin to ask why she doesn't feel the need to justify herself. And that question is dangerous. Dangerous because it suggests confidence. Dangerous because it suggests closure. Dangerous because it leaves no room for revision. As the night ended, one thing became clear to insiders watching closely: the Bet Awards weren't the climax. They were the trigger. And according to the final whisper circulating among industry watchers, the next public moment, whether intentional or accidental, could either seal this new chapter as unshakable, or crack it wide open in ways no one is prepared for. By the time the third wave hit, the noise had transformed into something sharper and far more dangerous: interpretation. Not speculation. Not reaction. Interpretation. Because once the internet decides a moment means something, the people involved lose control of how it's remembered. And that's exactly where this story landed after the Bet Awards glow faded. According to multiple behind-the-scenes whispers, Teyana Taylor knew the second she posted that photo dump that there was no undoing what she'd started. The candid shots weren't flashy. They weren't posed. That was the point. One insider claimed she intentionally chose images that felt boring in the best way: laughter with her daughters, quiet proximity with Pierre, moments that suggested routine instead of spectacle. The message wasn't, "Look at my new relationship." It was, "This is my life now." That subtlety infuriated critics. Because if there's no spectacle, there's nothing to attack directly. And so the conversation shifted again, this time toward motive. Why now? Why here? Why this way? Entertainment analysts began framing the Bet Awards moment as a power move disguised as vulnerability. One commentator said, "She didn't announce. She normalized." That phrase went viral, and with it came a new wave of debate. Was this healing or control? Behind the scenes, sources say Teyana was unmoved by the backlash. One alleged insider claimed she'd already processed the hardest part months earlier, long before the public caught up. "She's not responding because she already did the work," the source said. This isn't reaction. It's arrival. Whether that's true or not, the confidence in her silence was unmistakable. But silence doesn't land the same for everyone. According to unverified, but persistent rumors, Iman Shumpert began feeling the pressure not from fans, but from peers. Former teammates. Friends. People asking how he was really doing. That kind of attention, insiders say, can be more destabilizing than public criticism. Because it forces you to confront a narrative you didn't write, and decide whether to challenge it or let it stand. One gossip account claimed Iman privately expressed that he felt the story had moved on without him, not because he wanted to be centered, but because he felt erased. The account suggested his frustration wasn't about Aaron, or even the relationship itself, but about how quickly the past was being overwritten. The post disappeared within hours. The idea didn't. And that idea caught fire. Suddenly, the conversation pivoted to emotional fairness. Should one person get to move forward publicly while the other stays silent? Is silence dignity, or surrender? Fans argued endlessly, drawing lines that didn't exist in real life, but felt urgent online. TikTok videos analyzed facial expressions from years ago. Old interviews were replayed with new captions. Every memory became evidence. Meanwhile, Aaron's role became more complex by the day. Insiders say he was acutely aware that every step he took, or didn't take, would be scrutinized. According to one entertainment publicist, Aaron intentionally declined 2 event invitations in the days following the Bet Awards, choosing not to be seen publicly while the discourse peaked. He didn't want to look like he was enjoying the chaos, the source claimed. That restraint only added to his mystique, and to the perception that this relationship was built on deliberation, not impulse. But deliberation doesn't stop rumors. Another blind item dropped claiming the Bet Awards appearance was only the first of 3 planned moments meant to reset the visual narrative of Teyana's life. The post alleged future appearances would continue to show stability rather than passion, family moments, creative collaborations, quiet support. Again, no proof. But the pattern felt plausible enough to stick. The industry began watching closely. Not fans. Not bloggers. Industry. Executives, publicists, collaborators, people who understand how narratives are shaped and sold. And according to one source, the takeaway was clear: Teyana wasn't chasing validation. She was closing a chapter on her own terms. That kind of control is rare and often resented. As the days passed, the outrage softened into something more uneasy. Acceptance. Not approval. Not celebration. Acceptance. People stopped asking for explanations and started adjusting their expectations. The shock wore off. The image settled. And that's when insiders say the real impact became visible. Because once the public accepts a new reality, it becomes permanent. Still, one unresolved thread remained, and it hung heavy. Multiple sources insist Iman is still deciding whether to speak publicly at all. Not out of anger. Out of principle. According to one whisper, he's weighing whether saying nothing preserves dignity, or cedes the narrative entirely. And that decision, insiders warn, could reshape how this entire story is remembered. Because a single statement, even a gentle one, could reopen questions people have already begun to close. As of now, there's been no announcement. No joint interview. No clarification. Just continued movement forward, quietly and deliberately, as if the loudest message is the absence of explanation. And maybe that's the point. Because the most disruptive thing Teyana Taylor did at the BET Awards wasn't bringing her daughters. It wasn't stepping out with a new partner. It was showing the world that she's no longer negotiating her peace in public. But peace doesn't stop history from knocking. And according to the final whisper circulating late last night, the next time this story resurfaces won't be on a red carpet. It'll be in words. From someone who hasn't spoken yet. If you're still here, don't click away, because this is exactly the kind of story that doesn't end when the cameras shut off. What you just watched is the calm before the next shift. In celebrity culture, the loud moments grab attention, but the quiet ones decide legacies. And right now, everything is moving quietly, which means something is coming. This is the moment where staying locked in matters. Hit like right now, because that tells the algorithm you want the real-time breakdowns, not the watered-down recaps that show up after the narrative is already set. Drop your thoughts in the comments, because the comment section is where the most honest takes surface, and where insiders always seem to watch before the next detail leaks. Say what you think now, while the story is still breathing. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it immediately, with notifications turned all the way on. Not later. Not after the next headline. Now. Because when this story updates, it won't come with a warning. One post, one sighting, one statement from the person who's been silent could flip everything overnight. You don't want to hear about that moment secondhand. You don't want to be catching up while everyone else is reacting in real time. Stories like this don't fade, they evolve. Stay tapped in. Stay watching. Because the next chapter won't ask for permission before it drops.